1st of January with our Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw was a hit or miss show, I think, tonight. It had some good points. It had some bad points. We'll talk about everything that did go down. Talk about the big news going into the show, the big news coming out of the show. And let's see who is with us here so far in the live chat. Looking here, we've got Kristen McNutt, Luke Might, Woken King, Slender, Steve Emblom, Nicholas Bro Sylvan, Derek Boak, George John Cox, Legend Steelers fan, Vashin Noel. What is going on, everybody? Beastie Boy 124. Thank you for joining me here to talk Monday Night Raw. What did you guys think of the show? Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching later, in the comments below, what you thought of tonight's Monday Night Raw. Excuse me. So, before Raw even started, we learned that John Cena will not be on the show tonight because he's got a quote-unquote ankle injury from last week's show when McIntyre put him in the ankle lock. With that, John Cena is not injured. John Cena just couldn't be on the show tonight because he's actually off filming a movie. If you remember, we reported a little while back that there was a what's the word I'm looking for? There was a thought, I guess you could say, that John Cena may not be able to work the Royal Rumble because he's got to film a movie starting on January 20th. And what's today, the 21st? Yesterday, he started filming a new movie. I don't know exactly what movie it is, but yeah, Cena is off filming a movie. That's why he was not able to work tonight's Monday Night Raw. And them saying that the whole is up in the air for it's up in the air for him to work the Rumble. I don't know if he's going to make the Rumble or not. We'll have to wait and see. Chris McNutt, Tim, does it count Ronda's first loss tonight in the tag team? It's not her first loss. Not at all. I think, to be honest, I could be wrong here, but wasn't the Money in the Bank match technically a loss? I forget who got attacked first by Alexa. Was it her or Nia? So, I mean, no, it doesn't matter if she wins or loses. I mean, it happens. So, with that, John Cena not on the show tonight. The show kicks off, though, with a Martin Luther King tribute. And then Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman do come out. With that, Paul Heyman cuts an amazing, and I mean amazing, promo on Finn Balor and everything that's going to go down this weekend at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Heyman goes on to state that he said that everyone likes to cheer Finn Balor. He tried to continue by mentioning Balor's name over and over, and the crowd would cheer every time. They would then boo for Brock every time he'd say Brock's name. Heyman said that Balor pinned John Cena last week, and that was no fluke. Heyman said Cena, who is the second greatest of all time, and then pointed to Brock. Heyman recalled Cena, saying that he believes in Balor and knows that the fans feel the same. Heyman said he too believes in Balor. He sees the moment. He has done this his whole career. Heyman then noted that Lesnar has been training to face Braun Strowman, and this really isn't fair for Brock Lesnar to have to now go in and face a Finn Balor, an opponent that he hasn't trained for. I mean, kind of got a point, but you're the champ, so you should always be ready for any opponent. They say that that's why they believe that Balor can become champion, but he can, not will. Luke Might with the $1.99 super chat donation says, Tim, I like the new logo. Thank you. Heyman would go on to state that Lesnar would turn Balor into a martyr who was sacrificing himself for those who believed he can conquer the unconquerable. He issued a spoiler alert. He said, even miracles fear Brock Lesnar, and it will be Balor on his back looking at the sky thinking, oh my God, I believe in Brock Lesnar. This then prompted Vince McMahon himself to come out. Yes, Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon came out there and he told the story of David versus Goliath and suggested that I'm not Daniel Bryan, what am I thinking? Finn Balor is actually David in reincarnated. McMahon then turned on the crowd, calling the Oklahoma City crowd hillbilly land, calling the people there, saying they live in hillbilly land, and the fans must believe in fairy tales if they think Balor could win. This would then bring out Braun Strowman. Strowman came out, and he called last Monday the worst day of his life. He said that Baron Corbin cost him $100,000 and a shot at the Universal Championship. He said, but for Brock, that's the luckiest day of his life because he no longer has to face Braun Strowman. Strowman would then rip him apart a little bit, and he said that, I hope, Brock, you're still the champion after Royal Rumble because I'm going to come for you, and I'm going to rip you apart like I did that limo. Balor would come out. He said, what is this, the same old Monday Night Raw we see every week? Balor said that he beat 3 others last week, including Cena, to earn an opportunity at Brock Lesnar. Balor knows that McMahon doesn't believe in him, but the Balor Club does. Balor said that he would reclaim his Universal Championship. Strowman didn't think Balor could win. I mean, do you really think Balor's going to beat Brock? Balor then thanked Strowman for the support. He then told him he would do something to Strowman that he's never done, he's going to do something that Strowman's never done, and that's beat Brock Lesnar. This then led to Brock and Heyman just getting out of the ring. Vince would then make a match and go, hey, let's see David versus Goliath right now. Finn versus Braun. And then he told Brock, hey, you may want to take a seat and stay at ringside and watch this match. It wasn't to the benefit of Brock to sit there and watch this match, actually. So going forward, we got Braun Strowman versus Finn Balor. Early in the match, Strowman ran over Balor with a shoulder tackle to the outside. Later, he tried it again, but Balor caught him with a sling blade. Balor used a sleeper hold to slow down Strowman. He then hit the double foot stomp. Balor went to the top rope, but Strowman pushed him to the outside, throwing him off the top rope onto Brock Lesnar. Lesnar then caught him and gave him an amazing-looking belly-to-belly. It wasn't anything, like, he didn't do anything special off this belly-to-belly, but just the way that he caught Balor and he just flipped him right over. It was cool. And it wasn't the DQ. Like, really? I guess because technically you can say the referee's detriment, oh, well, Balor came and hit him first when he flew off the top rope. A referee checked on Balor as Lesnar leaped onto the apron. Balor then yanked Brock's foot, and Brock went face first into the side of the ring, and he hit him with a drop kick into the post. Balor then wiped him out with a flip dive. Balor gave Strowman a sling blade, then knocked Lesnar off the apron again and drop kicked him into the barricade. Strowman tossed Balor back into the ring, but he then ran shoulder first into the post. Balor drop kicked him into the corner and nailed a coup de grace. Before he could go for the cover, though, Brock Lesnar would run in and hit the F5, this time for the disqualification. So this is good because Brock really sold a lot for Finn in this match. Like, he really made it seem like Finn got him a little disoriented at points when he would, got him face first into the side of the ring. Then he drop kicked him into the turnbuckle post. Then he drop kicked him into the barricade. And Brock was like, whoa, I didn't expect any of that. So I liked that. I liked that a lot, that they made it seem like Finn can get the upper hand. Even though we know that Finn's not going to get the upper hand. So with that, we got the Bobby Lashley Intercontinental Championship celebration. Leo Rush said that Lashley was better than Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, and hell, everybody else in the locker room to boot. They went over their issue. They said they weren't going to come out here and issue an open challenge. He said because open challenges are for nothing but kids. Rush said that they were in this for the money. And Lashley stood on a podium with a spotlight on him. Apollo Crews would then interrupt. Crews said that Lashley was an impressive athlete, but nobody paid their money to see him just pose. They want to see him fight. Crews said, yeah, I know you're not going to accept a championship challenge right now. And Crews goes, no, but how about a pose down? And Cruz is just like, I don't know how to do that. I don't really know how to pose. What is a pose down? And I think Apollo Crews showed a lot of charisma in this segment. A lot of charisma. So they were like, let's do it. And so Bobby Lashley goes up there and he's like, give him the biceps, the double biceps. And so Bobby Lashley does the double biceps. And Apollo Crews gets up on the podium and he does a little shimmy and a dance and a jig. And I liked it. It showed some charisma from Apollo Crews. So he did his little, double biceps. And then they did some more poses and some more poses. And he danced a little more. Nothing like stupid. It was just like he knew this was dumb. So I'm going to just make it fun for the crowd kind of deal. And so with that, we then get a match basically because they did the poses, and then finally Lashley just attacks him. I thought, this part of the segment before the match was really good for Apollo Crews. I thought Apollo Crews really shined here because we really haven't been able to see any character from Apollo, really. He's either just been a guy that smiles or been, aligned with Titus doing really nothing. So I like that we got to see more of, quote-unquote, Apollo Crews. But this did lead to a non-title match between Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews, and I guess you can say Apollo won that pose-off. Excuse me. Those matches didn't go too long. Crews seemed to be winning, but got distracted by Rush on the apron. Crews yanked him into the ring, and it was about to power slam him, but Lashley nailed Crews with a spear for the victory. So yeah, again, the match wasn't much of anything, but the segment before this really was good for Crews. And an interesting thing I forgot to mention was Renee Young. So usually when we see like a Mandy Rose or a Carmella or a Alexa Bliss come out, we hear Corey Graves go, oh, gaga. He's like, shut up, Byron. Mandy Rose, God's gift to earth. You don't talk while she's coming to the ring. And basically, when Bobby Lashley was posing, Renee Young was just like, I don't even know how to explain it. She was like enamored. She was enthralled. She was smitten almost. And Corey had to go, calm down, Renee. You're a married woman. So it's like, what? Excuse me, I can't get over this cough. And it's just like, what? I thought it was kind of funny. So next up, Seth Rollins comes out. He said, today we're celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day. He said we can especially learn from him on this day. He quoted MLK stating, the ultimate measure of a man is not what he stands in moments of no, let me reiterate that. Let me reread that. He says, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. And then he tried to compare this to his own life problems. He said stuff like, the fans have always been with me. Dean Ambrose, I thought he was always with me, and Roman, and this and that. I'm like, the fans have not always been with you. Remember that time when you turned on the Shield and they hated your ass? Like, there was that whole authority feud, or not feud, but storyline where nobody liked you fan-wise. And don't even get me started about when he came back off that injury. I don't. Anyways. He said just a few months ago, he had 2 title belts in his hands. He had 2 brothers by his side, but now, no titles and a broken family. He called the ring his first love, and as long as he had that, he has that fire in his eyes. He thinks that, he feels that, he knows that he will go on to win the Royal Rumble. He knew it was a long shot, but he doesn't give a damn. He also tried to claim that he wasn't the stereotypical WWE superstar because he's not as big as Drew McIntyre or as powerful as Bobby Lashley. He called himself a small-town guy and sucked up to the live crowd. He said, I could be working in factories, driving a truck out on the farm, but no. I did this. He then gets fired up and calls himself the man and says that he would win the Men's Royal Rumble and then go on to win at WrestleMania with a championship on the line. And then McIntyre comes out. McIntyre said that Rollins wouldn't win the Rumble because he is going to win the Rumble. He said that his flying around would lead to him getting eliminated. McIntyre hoped that he and Rollins were the last two men left in that ring on Sunday because he wanted to be the one to eliminate Rollins. So then he could hear the announcement of Drew McIntyre, the winner of the 2019 Royal Rumble and the man who will win the Universal Championship come WrestleMania. Rollins would then challenge Drew McIntyre. The two had a match. Pretty good match here between the two. Early on, suicide dive by Seth. He tried to dive off the post to the outside, but McIntyre moved and Rollins crashed right into the barricade. McIntyre dominated from there on for a little while and hit a reverse Alabama slam on the outside. After a commercial break, McIntyre tried to slam Rollins, and he floated through and hit a Falcon Arrow. I love the way that he's now not just, it's just superplex into Falcon Arrow. No, he's actually figuring out new ways to hit that Falcon Arrow, to get into the Falcon Arrow, to come out of the Falcon Arrow. And I like, excuse me, I like the, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of, I know what I'm trying to say, I just can't think of the word. The, not randomness, just the way to come up with a different way to do it every time, or almost every time. It's not as cut and dry anymore, because you always knew a Seth Rollins match when you see it, but now he's changing things up. At this point, McIntyre avoided a charge, but Rollins caught him with a super kick for a 2 count. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome." It wasn't that awesome. And then the men exchanged strikes. Rollins was getting the better of McIntyre until McIntyre nailed him with a headbutt. McIntyre followed that up with a white noise off the middle rope for a 2. As soon as Rollins kicked out, McIntyre picked him up and hit him with a sit-out powerbomb for another near fall. The crowd was just into this match like crazy. When suddenly, Rollins countered into a schoolboy for the pin. Out of nowhere. Cool. Fun match. Crowd loved Seth Rollins here tonight. And in a weird segment, we get the Revival and Vince McMahon. Yeah, the Revival and Vince McMahon. The Revival are trying to say that they've been screwed every time they had a championship opportunity against Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. McMahon asked, well, what do you want? They're like, we want one more shot. But we want a referee that's not going to mess up. Who's going to call it down the middle. Who's going to keep their eyes open and make sure they see every little thing. And this referee did. Heard Hawkins, then walked up. Tried to pitch an idea to Vince McMahon, it seemed like. And McMahon goes, you know what? I got an interesting idea. How about, here's your referee. And the Revival was like, okay. So they started buttering up Hawkins. Like, ooh, we're going to get this guy on our side, and we're going to do whatever we need to do to make sure we win. Ambrose was backstage and said that Rollins was using MLK Day and quotes to try to get the fans on his side, and it was cute. He said he had a Martin Luther King quote of his own: "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Ambrose called it a glaring injustice that he was no longer the Intercontinental Champion. He warned Rollins about Bend Over Bobby, and that he would go after him in the Rumble and toss them both over the top rope. Ambrose said 2018 wasn't his year. Spent the better of it in the hospital and literally drove his body into the ground. Not to no gratitude from the fans. He said the Royal Rumble would be his shining moment, his miracle on ice this Sunday. Justice will be served. Ambrose was pretty good here. I liked this. So then we get 6-man tag, Lucha House Party versus Jinder Mahal and the Singh Brothers. Match went about 3.5 minutes. And to be honest, I really feel like every Lucha House Party match is almost the same every single time. Got Metalik one with a backbreaker, which might have been a botch. It kind of seemed a little bit. Sunil Singh seemed to kick out at 3. And Samir appeared to be on his way in to break it up, and it just went as a finish. So I don't know if maybe they were supposed to go a little bit longer. Excuse me. If it was supposed to go like a little bit longer or something, but it seemed like they didn't break up. I don't know. It was just weird. And then a video package played for EC3. I'm like, okay, we're getting the same video we always see. But then we see EC3 backstage posing. And he's posing like he's an air traffic controller. And then we see Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke asked him about his pre-match ritual and his routine. He didn't say anything because I guess he's not allowed to talk. And Elias would just walk by them. I don't know if they've just said, EC3, you're not allowed to speak. EC3, don't talk. I have no clue because he's one of the better talkers they've got right now. Just baffles me. I assumed that when Elias came out and did his little thing, maybe EC3 would interrupt. Nope. Elias came out, did his little performance, and who would interrupt? Baron freaking Corbin. Yeah. Baron Corbin would come out and interrupt, unfortunately. So, with that, Baron Corbin got a lot of heat from the fans here. Elias said, why are you still wearing that vest? I mean, you don't have your old job anymore. You got fired. Why do you still dress like that? You know you shouldn't be dressing like that. And the crowd's chanted, you got fired. And then we got Baron Corbin versus Elias. Nothing of a match. Corbin won clean with the end of days. It's really all you can say. They tried to claim that, Corbin got in a cheap shot before this finisher, but it really wasn't nothing there. We then get a moment of bliss. So Alexa Bliss comes out for her moment of bliss segment. And she's plugging the Royal Rumble, and she says, every woman that's so far announced for the Women's Royal Rumble match. Then Bliss introduces what she says is one of her favorites in the match, a friend and a foe, Nia Jax. Bliss asked who she would face at Mania if she were to win, asking Nia, that is. Before she could answer, Ember Moon would interrupt. Bliss said, what are you doing here? It's my show. You're not invited. Moon said that she was tired of waiting for an invitation and that she would be the one to win the Rumble. Alicia Fox then came out. She said that she was the captain of this division and she was going to win the Royal Rumble. Mickie James would then come out next. She said that she has stolen the show at WrestleMania before and would love to do it again. They bickered for a little while before the Riot Squad, Tamina, Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross all came out, and Alexa was getting pissed. Alexa Bliss was trying to yell at everybody, saying, this is my show, calm down. She finally stood on her chair and goes, stop. She basically says, stop. She says, you guys are not only making this division look bad with all your catty bickering and not supporting each other, but you're making me look bad here on my show as well. She said, this is going to stop now before it breaks down into some brawl that no one can contain. And then it broke down to a little brawl that no one could contain. Finally, they all got the women backstage. And then Alexa Bliss would go on to announce that she will be entering and competing in this Sunday's Women's Royal Rumble match. And the crowd pretty much loved that announcement because they popped pretty good for it. They really, really liked that there in Oklahoma City. As she was about to say something else, I guess, Lacey Evans would interrupt. Evans called all the other women that she just saw out there classless, nasty, and just little girls. Evans said that she would win the Women's Royal Rumble and not some sawed-off, girly little runt like Alexa Bliss. I did not like this segment at all. I like the Alexa Bliss announcement. Now we know she's cleared, which we know she's cleared now, and that's a good thing. And for her to be working the Royal Rumble, she's got to be 100% cleared because a Royal Rumble match is very unpredictable on what can happen. You can get thrown over that top rope wrong and hurt yourself. You can try to be, block an attempted elimination and slip on the ropes or something. A Royal Rumble match is very unpredictable, and fortunately, we haven't seen a lot of injuries come out of Rumble matches. But I'm very happy that Alexa Bliss is cleared, gonna be wrestling again. I don't know exactly what plans they may have for her going forward. Maybe she feuds with Lacey Evans. I don't know. But we'll see starting next week. I don't think she's going to be winning the Women's Royal Rumble. I highly, highly doubt that. So we'll see where this goes. There was then a pre-tape segment with Titus O'Neil, who announced that he will be entering the Royal Rumble. Stagehand then appeared randomly, and Titus was annoyed. It was a nothing segment. Heavy Machinery wrestled tonight. They took on the Ascension. Heavy Machinery won very quick, like 2.5 minutes with a compactor. Just before that, Otis did the worm into an elbow drop, which the crowd amazingly loved. Like, they popped hard for that worm. I mean, it worked. So then, Raw Tag Team titles on the line. Chad Gable, Bobby Roode defending against the Revival with special guest referee Kurt Hawkins. Match went almost 10 minutes, about 8-9 minutes. Early on, Gable tagged Roode, but Hawkins didn't allow it because he didn't have the tag rope. Hawkins was a really good referee here. Revival then double-teamed on the tag team champions, but Roode and Gable fought back, and they hit stereo T-bone suplexes. Good spot. Roode launched Gable over the top to Dash Wilder, but Scott Dawson took Gable out with a clothesline. After commercial break, Gable tagged in Roode, who gave Wilder a clothesline and a back body drop, then gave Dawson a Uranagi. He clotheslined Dawson to the outside, then gave Wilder a spine buster. Wilder floated into a cover on Roode as Dawson held his leg, but Hawkins saw it and stopped the count at 2, said, hey, we can't have any of that now. Wilder then tried to go for the cover with his feet on the ropes, and Hawkins again stopped it. Can't have any of that. The Revival were starting to get mad. Gable then tagged in, and Dawson caught him on a roll-up. But as he was going 1, 2, referee Kurt Hawkins saw that he had a handful of tights and stopped him yet again. Revival tried yet another assisted cover, but Hawkins just wouldn't let it happen, which finally allowed Gable to roll through into a roll-up and retain the tag team championships. Roode and Gable retain. Then the Revival get very mad at Kurt Hawkins. Like, what was all that for? What? I mean, aren't these the same guys that ask for a referee that'll call it down the middle, call it 100% clean? Like, you think he was just going to help you guys cheat? No. So they attack Hawkins after the match, and who would actually come out was his old buddy, his current buddy, Zack Ryder. Woo. Yep, you know it. So Zack Ryder came down and Rival ran off, basically. Welcome King Slender, I thought the same thing. The Revival are going to break Kurt Hawkins' losing streak. I think so. I think there's a chance where Hawkins and Ryder, they're going to be, it's obvious now, they're going to be a tag team again. They've got their podcast going. They've got their, what's it called? They got their podcast going. They've got their YouTube show where they look at toys and all this, and that's really not a big thing, but WWE's putting them back together, and I like that because they were a really good tag team before. Corey Graves did mention their former tag team champions. Yep, Steve Emblon says now they will be the Edgeheads. I don't think they're going to be the Edgeheads. They're just going to be Hawkins and Ryder. But it looks like the Revival have now moved on from challenging for the Raw Tag Team Championships, and they're going to feud with Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. If they weren't upset before, boy howdy. Well then, right before the main event, Ronda Rousey's in Gorilla, and Dasha Fuentes interviews her, and she says that she's been thinking if she owed Sasha Banks an apology, but then realized she didn't owe her anything. The crowd cheered for that. Rousey said that she gave Banks a title shot, but Banks wasted no time in insulting her. Rousey then would go on to rant about Banks and finished by saying that Banks would have to answer to her. She thinks she's the boss, but Ronda's the Raw Women's Champion, and Rousey was going to show the boss just what's what come the Royal Rumble. This is an okay little segment. So Ronda comes out to do her entrance, and she's just looking pissed, like she can't be contained. Natty comes out, and they go to commercial. When they come back, Natty's just holding Ronda back. Joe Decker, yeah, we talked about the Heavy Machinery match. It was like 2 minutes long. So Sasha and Bayley come down. They do their usual Sasha Bayley entrance with the Bayley buddies and all the dancing on the side of the ring by Sasha and this and that. And Natty's just holding Ronda back. And they're paying Sasha and Bayley, paying her no mind. They're just like, whatever. And Corey's like, if I was Sasha and Bayley right now, I would not have my back to Ronda Rousey. And then I think it might have been Corey again. He goes, at this point, Rousey's going to knock out Natalya to get to Banks. And so Natty and Sasha actually start the match. And Ronda's like, you go get her to Natty. And Ronda goes onto the apron, as a normal tag team partner is supposed to do. And Sasha just runs right there and knocks her off. So Ronda tries to get in, but John Cone, referee, doesn't allow it. So with that, match went about 11, 12 minutes or so. Really good match. They played up the fact that Banks is a 4-time women's champion a lot. They also said that Banks and Bayley have a plan. Banks is going to come out of the Royal Rumble as the champion. Then they're going to go to the Elimination Chamber, win the women's championships. They never said anything about Bayley winning the Rumble, so Bayley don't care about winning the Rumble? I don't know. So Banks said that. So Banks gets on the mic. I forgot this. Banks gets on the mic before the match even starts. And she says that she's earned all her opportunities. She doesn't like being called entitled. She said that she made Jax tap out, and she would do the same to Rousey. She also said that she's on the road every day working for this and that, and Ronda just came in here and got everything handed to her. Sasha says that she spent 54 minutes in the Women's Royal Rumble last night, which she did, but I digress. Half of the time Ronda was in that match, she spent on the outside of the ring. Like, don't say, "Oh, I was in the match for 54 minutes." It doesn't count if you weren't in there competing all 54 minutes. No, Sasha was in and out, more out than in a lot of times. Anyways, the match starts, like I said, and she knocks Ronda off the ring apron. Excuse me. And so Corey Graves says that Banks was reading too many Reddit forums by people who claimed that she was the best thing since sliced bread, and it's gotten to her head. Sasha came off as a heel here. After a commercial break, Natalya tagged in Rousey, and they gave Bayley a heart attack. Banks and Bayley double-teamed Natalya again after they took over control. Natty finally eventually got to her corner so Ronda could tag in. Rousey got to Banks and hit her with a Samoan drop, but Banks countered and applied the crossface until Natty broke it up. So they were like, hey, look, she can get Ronda in that Banks statement. It's just a matter of getting in her long enough to make her tap. Bayley would tag in, but Rousey fought her off, hitting her with knees and kicks to the midsection. Rousey tried an armbar, but Banks rolled through and got to the ropes. Rousey tagged in Natty, and the referee could be heard telling them, hey, you've got 2 minutes. Something along those lines. He gave him like a 2-minute warning. It was weird. Natty ran wild briefly, but Banks caught her in a crossface, got her in the Banks statement, tapped her out. There you go. And they played it up. They're like, look, the Banks statement is effective. It's been effective for months. It's been effective over her 4 title reigns. And the one thing, they kept saying, she's a 4-time women's champion. But to me, I like long title reigns more than a bunch of short title reigns. And all Ronda's title reigns, not Ronda's, but Sasha's title reigns have been very, very short. So it's like, what's more impressive? Being able to say that you held the title for a long time and that no one beat you over that long time? Or, yeah, you're a 4-time champion, but you also got beat that many times losing the title. So it's just like, I don't know. Some people think, the number's greater than the length of time between, winning and losing your championship. But with that, looked like Sasha and Bayley were going to get out of the ring after celebrating. And Banks would come back in and get right in Ronda's face. The show ended in a heap where it was Bayley trying to hold back Sasha, Natty, who was just tapped out, all of a sudden fine, trying to hold back Ronda, and John Cone between all of them, trying to hold them all apart. And right at the top of the hour, as the show was going, overtime almost, it ends. Just over. And that was the last thing we see I don't know. But we're going to take some calls. And before we take some calls, we got something to talk about. This coming Wednesday, right here on Pro Wrestling Unlimited at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. We got some What Wrestling for you guys coming. Wrestling has it tomorrow. These are 5 matches from What Wrestling's May 13, 2018 show, where we will see JT Dunn versus Gangrel. Austin Theory will be taking on AR Fox. Zaya Brookside versus Rachel Ellering. Joey Ryan versus Richard Holiday. And in a no disqualification match, Dan Maff versus PCO. All 5 of these matches will be streaming live right here on the PW Unlimited YouTube channel right before we do go live with our Wednesday podcast. So that's kind of cool. You can come in at 7:10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, watch some What Wrestling, and then stick around for our Wednesday podcast at the normal time. So have some fun. I hope you guys do enjoy all of that coming. It is in association, in collaboration with a Strong Style brand. Now, we want to talk to you guys about what you thought about tonight's Monday Night Raw. Got some calls already coming in. If you want to call in, 559-475-8473, 559-475-8473. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. I have 2 questions. One, what on words on Lars?
I haven't heard anything.
Any other? Is WWE? I know you will say no, but is WWE try to make Alexis his face? Because I want that, but I know Vince want her as a heel.
I mean,
what do you think of that?
There's a chance they could maybe make her a babyface. I don't think they would because she is so much better as a heel. I can see though that, you know, after the pop that she did get tonight from the crowd when she said, "Hey, I can wrestle again," they really did it. Maybe they saw that and said, "Ooh, maybe we should try something different with Alexa." I don't know if they will, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, why not try something different?
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you for the call and have a great night.
You too.
All right. Let's take another call here. And that one didn't go. Try this one here. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Tim?
Not much. What about yourself?
Nothing much, brother. Got a question for you.
All right.
I just wanted to know, have you heard anything regarding Lars Sullivan?
I have not. Last I heard was that I heard some contradicting things. Some were saying that WWE was in contact with him over the weekend and coming out of last week's shows, but others have said that he really hasn't had any contact with anybody in the company ever since everything that went down last week, and now WWE is just playing it by ear. So honestly, no one really knows what exactly is going on with Lars Sullivan. It's a mystery almost.
Yeah, because, I mean, I've been wondering myself because, you know, Vince McMahon, Triple H, and everybody else, they've been building him up.
Right.
And, you know, and I just wondered was there, like, anything behind the scenes or maybe behind closed doors that maybe made him do that?
Like I said,
you know,
like I've said before, all we really know is that when Monday Night Raw, they were all going to the building last week, and some say that he had his anxiety attack or his panic attack before he even entered the building last week, and some are saying that it was just in the, I don't know exactly, you know, there's a lot of contradicting things. Some say it was before he even entered the building, some said it was right before Raw went on the air, some are saying that it was just when they were all getting, you know, their stuff situated backstage, and it's unfortunate, and apparently now Triple H is taking a little heat for it, though, from Vince, because Triple H was very, very high on Lars Sullivan and really put a good recommendation in on him coming from NXT because, I mean, everything we saw with him in NXT was great for the most part, and we never thought that there'd be issues.
Because I was a big fan of Lars Sullivan on
Me
NXT.
too.
And I just thought, and I thought to myself, kind of like what you were saying, I think if he went to SmackDown, he would have been amazing to watch on, on television and not being mixed with Braun Strowman.
Right.
And, and also one other thing, did you pay it? You were watching the Revival, well, of course you watched all of it, but the Revival match, did you check out what it said on the back of the Revival's title?
Yeah, they've had that since December.
But I was just wondering, I was talking to my buddy when we were watching Raw. The question is, I wonder if that's a jab to Vince McMahon about the release.
I don't think so, because they asked for the release last week, but they've been wearing those tights since like right before Christmas. I do know that Dash Wilder does own the trademark of #FTR.
Okay. I just wonder if that maybe was a jab to Vince,
no, they've been
kind of like what about
right. They've been wearing those for a couple of weeks before they even asked for the release, so I don't think it's like a jab or anything. I don't know. It could mean something. It could not. I mean, for all we know, Vince doesn't even know what it means.
Well, but who knows? I mean, I'm confused anymore.
Right.
But hey, I love the show, man, and
Thank you.
That's the reason why I love talking to you. And you have a good night, sir.
You too. Thanks for the call. Have a great night.
You too.
AJ Styles Studio in the chat says, "Is there any news on Roman Reigns?" Nope. Wrestling News Co. caught up with Braun Strowman at the airport this past weekend, and he did state that he has spoken with Roman. Roman's in good spirits. Roman's in good health right now, and that he's on vacation with his family, in Hawaii. But other than that, no, there's nothing on Roman Reigns. And I hate when I hear all these people, Roman may be back for Mania, Roman may be back for SummerSlam. Nobody right now knows anything on Roman Reigns. So if you hear anyone try to go and report Roman, he's slated to come back around this time, Roman could be back around this time, nobody knows that, and they should lose all credibility if anyone tries to predict when Roman's going to come back. But let's take another call. Calling on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, what's good, bro?
What's up?
I checked on the WWE Twitter and got some inside news with for tomorrow's SmackDown.
Okay.
The news, according to WWE's Twitter, there's apparently the supposed match is supposed to be like Mandy Rose versus Naomi finally.
Right, that was announced yesterday.
But pretty much this whole feud's like annoying and it's pointless. I mean, what did Naomi do to make Mandy do this to her?
I have no clue.
Naomi's not champion. Naomi's not champion. I mean, why is she doing this? She doesn't want Jimmy. She doesn't want Jimmy, her husband. And I mean, what is her strategy?
Honestly,
Tell me.
Do not know. This is kind of to me, a nothing segment, a nothing feud that really is leading to nothing.
They're just wasting your talent.
Basically.
Just have her just as punishment, have Asuka beat her, or just have Asuka make her tap down 25 seconds or something.
Punishment for what though? She didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, what if? Look, this is some thing that I had in a dream. What if someone like Candice LeRae, who's pretty popular with the crowd because she's married to Johnny Gargano, and she posts was a picture of her on Twitter, a clickbait picture of her kissing Johnny Gargano on her Twitter, and then she shows it to the crowd, but just a picture of Mandy kissing her dad or one of her parents, and a picture of Johnny kissing Candice. And they're just taped together. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know, but I want to say thank you for the call and have a great night.
Yeah, man. See you tomorrow.
Let's see what the chat's talking about here. It says Dylan Olamiller, hope I said that right, said they ruined Dean's turn. We all expected a badass, darker lunatic Ambrose. Now we're stuck with him, whatever this character is now. I agree, 100% there. Mark Brown says, do you remember when Ryder and Hawkins went as the Major Brothers? Yeah, when they first came out of FCW, and they excuse me, and they were in ECW, and then they finally got aligned with Edge, and that was all their idea, apparently. They talked about that on the It's a Christian podcast. Bruce Pritchard's talked about that on his podcast as well, as, you know, those two guys weren't really being used for much, and they were just like, you know what, we need to pitch this idea. So they did, and it worked, and they became edge heads, and then, yeah. So hopefully they can do some cool things with them as a tag team. I don't have many hopes, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. Let's take a couple more calls before we do wrap it up here. Caller on the air, what's going on? Nope. Chris McNutt in the chat says, do you think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be huge surprises in the Royal Rumble? No. I don't know exactly when they're slotting to have Sami come back, but according to Dave Meltzer in last week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, there is one plan that could see Kevin Owens being kept off of television, even if he gets cleared in February, like we're hearing possible, still kept off of TV till right after WrestleMania. So there is that unfortunate circumstance. Let's try another call. Let's take this one. Calling on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good, yourself?
I'm doing fine. Do you see anything special happening with these NXT call-ups?
Unfortunately,
with like EC3 or Lacey Evans?
Not anymore, because these last, 5-6 weeks that we've seen them have been just nothing. They've done nothing. They've just been random backstage guys and girls that, other than Nikki Cross having a pretty good match on Raw, nothing.
True, and still sticking with the NXT call-ups, who do you think could actually help boost ratings for the main roster? I'm thinking it could be the Undisputed Era. Maybe Kairi Sane gets a boost in the ratings and maybe a little bit of a push in the future.
Unfortunately, I don't see Kairi Sane as a quote-unquote ratings draw. She's a good wrestler. She's really good, but she's going to be hindered with, I think she's got less English-speaking abilities than Asuka does. So that's going to hinder her on the main roster, especially with Vince up there in charge.
What about the Undisputed Era? Adam Cole.
Here's the thing with them.
Strong.
They could be possible draws on the main roster. It might take a little bit because, you know, there's going to be some of those people that don't watch WWE that didn't see them in Ring of Honor and stuff. But here's the issue with that. They're all small, skinny guys. So Vince may just see them as small, skinny guys. Triple H is really going to have to fight for them and try to say, hey, no, these guys are great. They're good on the mic. They're good in the ring. They're good as a unit. And after this Lars Sullivan debacle, Vince may not take his recommendations so just, easily.
Yeah, I'm a big Adam Cole fan, and I was really hoping that maybe when he gets called up, have maybe a breakup with Undisputed Era, maybe get an IC title run, but I don't see him being a big main roster star.
He can be. It's just all going to take – he's going to really have to impress Vince and really show what he's got and work very, very hard to get that small guy stigma off of him.
Yeah, and one more question.
Sure.
Have you heard anything of any surprise entrants in either Rumble match that we don't know about, potentially a Rock or Batista? Because I think in the men's Rumble, it's given. And in the female Rumble, it's probably a given that we'll get Lita and Trish. But who else do you see potentially being in there?
I haven't really heard anything. I mean, the Alexa Bliss one was a surprise because no one expected her to be cleared already. But yeah. I really haven't heard anything on anybody not with the company going to be in either Royal Rumble. I mean, at this time,
thanks, bro.
Yeah, thanks for the call and have a great night. I mean, at this time last year, we had heard of, there's going to be women from the past, and there's going to be, these women from the past. So we had heard some of those names leading into that, this same week last year, but we don't know any surprises for this year. We don't know there's, Lacey Evans added herself. Alexa Bliss added herself. So there's 7 slots left for the Women's Royal Rumble. I don't have the number off the top of my head of how many slots are still left for the Men's Royal Rumble. But I don't think there's that many. So we'll have to see. But I don't really see any real big surprises. So Colby Durant says, Tim, have you heard anything on Austin Aries and if he will sign with another major company? Haven't heard anything really at all since he worked Impact Wrestling, their last big show. I think he's got some indie dates coming up that I've seen online here and there, but nothing major or anything big. So, no, I haven't heard anything really that good for Austin Aries. But at the same time, a lot of people don't want to work with Austin Aries because of his attitude. Looking at the chat here, Mark Brown says, will Adam Cole be in the Royal Rumble? Can't say. Don't know. Technically, last year he wasn't supposed to be in the Rumble. He was supposed to challenge Bobby Roode for the U.S. Championship on the pre-show, and then that match didn't happen, so they said, you know what? Throw him in the Rumble. Just looking here in the chat. Steph says, I wonder if Shane is going to enter the Rumble. I don't think so. No. But with that, I do want to say thank you for joining me here live, talking Monday Night Raw here on the 21st of January. You can follow us right here on Pro Wrestling Unlimited on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. On Twitter at PWUnlimited. And if you guys want to get exclusive and early access to some of our new content we've got coming up, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/PWUnlimited. You can support us for as low as $1. And as you see here on the bottom of your screen, you can have your name scrolling across on every live podcast we do. And also, head over to our TeePublic store, ProWrestling.com TeePublic store. Link in the description below to get any of our shirts or our hoodies, our cell phone cases, pillows, tote bags. Our store will be on sale later this week where everything will be 30% off. We will let you know exactly when that sale does start. Again, I want to say thank you for joining me here live. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow after SmackDown. Good night, guys.